let me say to you, by the way, can you see in the lower left corner of this, there's some type of activity at 12:25 in the morning on Friday. And this is Lionel Legal, okay? Let me make sure we always understand that. Lionel Legal, we have Lionel Legal and we have Lionel Nation. This is Lionel Legal. And what I want to discuss with you today, dear friends, dear great and glorious friends, is the case involving Candace Owens. And I want you, if you could, dear friends, to first of all, please, do me the favor. There we go. Freddie, you're a good man. You were there for Mrs. L yesterday, who did a live show on her Lynn's Warriors, and you were a mensch. And I am honored, sir, to call you a friend. I hope you do not mind me being so presumptuous as to call you a friend, but you are a friend. You have done more for my wife and me than many of our, quote, close friends have. And we thank you for that, and we thank you for your fealty and your fidelity and all of that stuff. All right, so let me just thank you for that. I want to bring up a couple of things to you. I want to bring to you on board. I'm sure you know about the case involving the allegations of, let me move this up a little bit. Pardon my hand, that is so rude. Sorry, pardon me. Oh my gosh. I'm sure you've heard of the allegations regarding the defamation brought on by Brigitte Macron. Oh, Edie's there. Boy, a lot of folks are getting up. Either you're up, or you are somehow, I don't know what you're doing. Either you're up or you're something, but you are there. Jenny's here. Everybody's here. God bless you. In any event, let me go back to what we're saying here. So, hang on a minute. Please forgive me. Yeah. So, first and foremost, I'm going to be looking at this from the point of view of a legal analysis, and not whether I like her or not. Many of the folks who watch YouTube and the like people. They feel like they like her. I don't know Candace Owens from anywhere, from a hole in the ground, as they say. I don't know anything about her. I don't know. I also learned that the way people act on TV, on whatever it is, on the radio or whatever, is different than how they act in public. I remember one time, first time I met Mark Levin, I couldn't believe what a mensch he was, an absolute mensch. He's just a nice man, and I presumed he would be just a jerk, because I thought his persona, was the way he was. So I don't know anything about her. I don't know. I like to somehow, I like to guess what people are like. And I like to be sometimes, I admit, kind of armchair Freudian. I like to analyze people. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm usually pretty right. In the case that I want to tell Candace is, first and foremost, you better really, really, really understand that you are not bulletproof in terms of being sued. You are not blessed. You are not devoid of any concerns that most people have. And if you get this one wrong, they are going to clobber you. It's one thing to say that voting machines don't work. It's one thing to say that, so-and-so was involved in some kind of nefarious political activity. It's another thing for a woman to call another woman, a woman who's the president, the wife, not even in your country, but to go out of your way to make the point that this woman is a man? You get the wrong jury on that one. You get a bunch of people who sit there and they get the feeling, the momentum, the sense that this she went out of her way. Let me give you a little bit about Candace Owens, what I think is interesting. Candace Owens, one time I heard somebody describe her as a white woman trapped in a black woman's body. That she was somehow a quisling, a traitor to her skin color, who has a white accent, doesn't even deign to adopt a black patois. A negress who has abnegated her negritude. Oh, I can see it. The Oreo, the Uncle Tom or Aunt Thomasina, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I've often thought sometimes that Harris Faulkner, who's a very regal woman who speaks with a very perfect accent of sorts, she must sometimes feel the same way, to an extent. I don't know. And the reason I say this is that if you're going to be a juror, these are things you're going to be thinking about. Because if you don't like that defendant, if you get the impression that this defendant, namely Candace Owens, is somehow being unfair, you're done. Katie says, Candace has gone off the rails with her anti-Semitism. You know, Katie, I said something the other day, and I want to say something about it. Candace Owens is mean. Candace Owens loves to get angry. She is the Anna Kasparian, the junk yogurt, the mean, angry. Candace Owens has said things regarding Israel and Zionism that I do not believe are anti-Semitic. I do not believe are, I don't know what the word is, in any way, whatever the phrase is. But she said it with such a ferocity, with such an anger, that she, I think, gives people the impression that she might have something against Jews. She also, because that's anti-Semitism. Being against Israel is not anti-Semitism. You know that, and I know that. One time you notice how everybody's wearing crosses, which is fine. They're wearing crosses. Big crucifixes, crosses, and they wear the crosses. And they're saying, look at this, I'm Alina Habbo, and she had a big cross. Here I am in front of the flag. I'm a cross. It's a free country. I think religious medallions as jewelry, when you are a member of the government, I would not do that. I would not have anything to say a crescent moon, some type of Islamic reference. But it's a free country. She can certainly do what she wants. And then sometimes we see him gone. Caroline Levitt, who better watch it. She's getting a little too big for her britches, a little too much guff in her sail, too much of her. Whatever. In any event, you got to be careful with this. But I do not believe she's anti-Semitic. I do not believe she's anti-Semitic. I do not believe that. I'm texting Mrs. O. I don't believe that. And I would hope that we would be able to say that we have problems. I've got a lot of problems with what's going on in terms of what Bibi Netanyahu is doing, what the IDF is doing, but it's nothing to do with Judaism at all. It's unbelievable. In any event, dear friends, remember the reason why I brought this up is Candace Owens has something which is very interesting. She hates people who are inauthentic. Remember when she went berserk over Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris, she goes, is not black. She's not black. See, authentic. She's not black. This one's not a woman. Candace says, I'm black. I'm definitely black. You can tell me I'm black. I've got to go through this, but you're not black. How dare you? This is what Kamala was saying, or what Candace was saying in this sense. How dare you come across as though you're some kind of a black woman, some negress, when in fact you're not. Because Kamala hates what people remind her of being, and that is inauthentic. Jesus is the only Jewish person people will ever worship. Worship? This is according to a hookster. Worship as, no. Now there were these things called Jews for Jesus. Semitic, no, it's Semitic, Semite, refers to languages. One just can't change the definition because they feel like it. Well, accordingly, Sama Hamam, there's something called the convention. And we have a thing called convention. And we can say, well, technically speaking, Semitism, they are a Semite. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. Yes, you're correct. But you're not going to get anywhere with that. You want to sit there, Sama, and say, don't use the word anti-Semitic. It's not going to work. I know sometimes it's fun to be punctilious and to be, dare I say, priggish about these things is great, but she's off the chain. But she shows this anger. Why do you show this? I was listening to Katie Halper and John Mearsheimer and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate, and nobody's angry, nobody's seething regarding Israel. She is. Anna Kasparian screaming, junk yogurt screaming. So Candace has a lot of her. Listen, she's very popular, and I'm not saying that. I'm telling you how I'm worried about she's going to come across because I don't want her to lose. But if God forbid, let me ask you a question. Imagine this. Imagine during the case. Imagine it goes to trial. Call your first witness. This is you're going to call your first witness for. And someone comes along and he says, guess what? I'm going to call Dr. Michel Jouton-Sevon-Bonto. Who is that? This is the doctor. This is the OBGYN or the gynecologist of Brigitte Macron. Right off the bat. Is that impossible? Hell no. State your name for the record. Dr. Jebi Zadon Jean Von. Okay. And Dr. Jean Von, are you Brigitte Macron? Yes, I am her doctor. And have you inspected her pudenda? Yes, I have. And within a reasonable degree of medical certainty, what is your opinion as to whether you have? Did you form an opinion whether she's? Yes, I believe she's a woman. Are you sure? Of course, I'm sure. Now remember, that's a big deal with all of this cis, trans, and all this stuff. Did you bring anything with you, doctor, other than a picture of her genitals? Or I have an X-ray of her uterus. I have an X-ray. Imagine I got buckles. Is she this person? No, that's her brother, whatever his name is. Because Candace said he's a brother. You don't get this. This is not what you get when Mike Lindell and others were brought. They had the Dominion suits. It required some degree of proof, but even that, it wasn't absolute. Gender, as you and I know, is a pretty absolute thing. If that jury gets a hold of this and they say, this is crazy, so they have to prove malice. And they can prove malice if somebody says she had a complete and total reckless disregard for the truth. She seemed to have no indication, no concern whatsoever with the truth. They told her. They said she is a woman, but she said she is a man. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe Fred said, just see if she shows gender ID on her Hawaiian birth certificate. Very funny. Touche. Now, here's the other one. Do you think that Michelle Obama might be watching this very carefully? I do. I do not believe Michelle Obama is a man. I don't believe it. I've never seen any evidence of it. I think it's kind of cruel. For me to think somebody is a man, I got to have reasons other than the fact that a bunch of people say so, and they're trying to be, Big Mike and showing this repeated clip, theoretically, of Obama saying her name, Michael. That doesn't do it. For you to say, for me to veer from the default, to go from thinking she is a woman to a man. But don't you think she's watching this? Wait till they also hear, this is the most important. Do you believe that there is a real issue here as to a question she said, if they introduce her, you and I say things sometimes that may sound kind of nutty to a lot of people, but to some folks they're not. For example, I was watching Alex Jones speak with James O'Keefe, whatever his name is, and they were saying that I felt the demons. The demons were on my skin. I felt the demons. And Tucker Carlson even said, I felt the scratching of the demons. It was a demon that was on me. Now, I think that's complete and utter bullshit, but you're entitled to think that. If I'm a juror and somebody introduces that, I'm thinking, this guy's a nut. Demons. They were suggesting that maybe, you might have heard that Candace may have suggested that Macron, that the president was picked by virtue of some kind of, I don't know, Rothschild or something, whatever. Something. If they portray her as some kind of a lunatic, some kind of nut, if they portray her as some fool, some crazy fool, some conspiracy racist. But bottom line, if they said, why did she care so much about the wife of the president of France? This isn't even in your country. And if they said, okay, now it's your turn. Now you're being sued. You can't plead the fifth. This is civil. You got to take the stand. What is the basis for it? Now remember, because Macron is a public figure, Macron, and Emmanuel have to prove malice. And malice is defined as either a reckless disregard for the truth or deliberately knowing that what you're saying is wrong. Wait until you hear the process. Do you remember when we told you she was a woman? Yes. Do you remember when we told you? Yes. Why did you keep insisting? What information do you know? What? And if that jury says she doesn't know anything, you just can't call somebody a man. If that jury says that, she's done. And if they go for punitive damages, look what they tried to do to Alex Jones. Somebody needs to tell her, with all the stuff that's out there in the world, why are you doing this? Why do you find this to be so important? Now, I know there are a lot of you, not you, but you collectively, those watching this, who love to see this. Who love to see this. I like the way Fred says, Atom's apple. Atoms, not Adam's apple. I like that, Fred. Atom's apple. By the way, they did not ruin Alex. Alex is still there. They wanted to do it. I don't know if that's over with. I always hope that somewhere Alex has some benefactor someplace who will help out ultimately. But what Candace has to understand is you may be making a lot of money, maybe doing great with becoming Brigitte or whatever this is and all this kind of jazz. And that's wonderful. But let me tell you something. When the shit hits the fan and you're by yourself, nobody is going to be there to help you. And they will move on to the next person that they like. They will drop you like a hot potato. And they may want to teach you a lesson. They may want to teach you a lesson. When you get behind her, let's say you got the gay community, the the transgender community, the Democrats are going to go crazy. God forbid you get a Peter Thiel or somebody that wants to funding this. I mean, so you got to ask yourself this question. Pick the hill you want to die on. Out of all the people, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And if she says, this is my opinion, let's say, no, you put a series of documentaries on, almost Netflix-y in terms of the way they look. And you gave people the impression that you knew a little bit more about this than others. So my question for you is very simply this, and this is very critical. What precisely is your basis for saying this? What led you to think this? Because she looks like it? Because there was a rumor in France? Some other journalists, and by the way, their cases were dismissed, not because of the fact that they were wrong, but because of due process or something along the lines. Let me ask you a question, very simply. Why do you believe, or do you believe, everybody, I want everybody watching, we have, oh, by the way, I've got 96 people. I need to see more of your likes. I need to see 100 likes. I'm sorry, because this is Lionel Legal, and we really need your help to get these numbers up, and I appreciate that. How many, honest to God, be honest, don't just say things to be contumacious. How many of you people really believe that it is relevant and important and critical that we determine the gender of Brigitte Macron? How many? How many? I like this. Sin says she didn't just call Macron a man. She presented an entire series with evidence and interviews. Look at this, Fred. Thank you, Freddie. With people in France who had been involved with this for years. Sin, that doesn't mean anything. Thank you, Fred. Fred knows how to. Look at these numbers. Fred's just buying you. Buying you up. Keep it up, Fred. He's a YouTube slave master. Do you think that's good? Sin, imagine somebody comes along and says a terrible thing about you. And I go to trial and say, well, the reason why they said it, the reason why, let's say, Alex Jones or Nick Fuentes or somebody said this, is that a lot of people said this. What do you say? A lot of people, I have a series of evidence and interviews of people in France who believe, Sin, that you're, that's not it. Just because people believe this. There have been evidence. Do you know that there is no evidence whatsoever of Michelle Obama being a man? But if I'm going to put on evidence of people just thinking it, there's lots of stuff. There were things that, oh my God, we have more stories. There has been evidence of in France, in the UK, they believe that Prince Andrew is Lord Porchester's son. There are people who believe that Major Hewitt is Harry's, we have people, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And I've always said, well, where are you getting this? And you might kind of sort of think that maybe there's something to it. But my question is, why is it important to you? Why does it matter? She bases it on a biography in France. She makes the argument it puts them subject to blackmail. No. But that doesn't matter. She said, Candace says, she is a man. She is a man. Not that the inquiry is warranted. She made the absolute, she says, I'm going to tell you. And if you dare push back on this, I'm going to make you eat this. Why does she have this anger? Why? Michelle has visible bumps in her clothes. No, Katie. That is Photoshop like you cannot believe. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do this bump? No, that's not good. Does anybody here really think Michelle Obama's a man? Seriously? Would you bet on this? Now you're going to say yes because I know how you are, because in the anonymity of the chat group, it's fun to be like this. But you don't have any basis for this. You don't have any basis at all. Now, Candace was on to something about saying she wasn't black. Kamala. At least she has something she can say, well, here's the, her father and grandfather. Okay, maybe. But you got to ask, where did this come from? Jerry. 0 pregnancy photos, broad shoulders, obvious musculature. That's not it at all. Again, 2 geese, I will destroy you in court. I cannot tell you. I want you to look around at some women who are, dare I say, a little big for their age, black women, white women, who are broad shoulders. No pictures of their wedding. Did you ever see pictures of George Bush's wedding? Did you ever see pictures of Nixon's wedding? No. No. You're backing into this. There's no evidence of this. But more importantly, why is it relevant? Blackmail, right? How many people? Now, Brian's making stuff up, seeing Big Mike. How about Barack, a.k.a. Bathhouse Barry likes men? Katie, do you have any proof of that? You want a proof of that? You have that one fellow who, here's something somebody asked. They said, you'll never hear any evidence of, or any evidence of women coming forward claiming that they were hit on by Barack Obama. Did you hear that one? But then again, the same story could be said about Nixon. Look at this. Hanover Fist says, yo, what's up? It's past your bedtime. No. As soon as I'm done with this, at 1 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to go, and there's a little link, I hope it's there. I'm going to go to 77 WABC, where we're going to have our live. We're going to take this up. I'm going to start off with my tribute, my discussion of Hulk Hogan, and then we'll go into the Macron case. And what you're doing is, and I love you, but you're saying, look, this isn't important to me, but I'm being kind of a dick myself. I think it's funny because it's gossipy. I love gossip. I'm going to just, whatever it is. Doesn't really affect me one way or the other, but I just love this shit. But no, it doesn't. But let me tell you something. They will destroy Candace with this one. Why can't a judge ask Brigitte to have an x-ray? Men have heart-shaped pelvises. They will put on their own evidence. They are going, look at this Fred, he slept through his, they're going to put on the evidence. The judge isn't going to make them prove their case. The judge is going to say, did the plaintiff, did Brigitte and her husband, prove their case? We're not going to force you to do it. It's not a criminal case. It's not like a lineup. You can't order somebody in a civil case. I want you to do it. No. If you don't have the evidence, that's up to you. But if they come up and they say, we told Candace this. She has children. These children are, if somebody testifies and says, I delivered her, she's 72 now. Oh, she's also claiming using the word, that PDF file word, that pedo word. She's really, she is showing a viciousness towards her. And I'm telling you, if that comes across to that jury, and if Candace comes across as some spiteful bitch, pardon my French, not my words, but I'm trying to give you a colloquialism, they will break it off on her. They will teach her a lesson she'll never forget. All right? Okay. Well, Freddie, my boy, Freddie Haddad, thank you so much for your gift. Make sure you like this video. Like it, like it, like it. Like it. Remember, think like a lawyer. Think like a juror. Don't think like something that just amuses you. Think like a lawyer. And also, my friends, do me a great and a big and a wonderful favor. Make sure that you follow us right after this at 1 a.m. and go to 77 WABC. The number is 800-848-9222. 800-848-WABC. Call up. Tell them you're from Lionel Nation. Tell them you're from Lionel Legal. Tell them you're from the Conspiratorium. Tell them you're from the Clerisy. Tell them you're part of Uncle Lenny's army. Okay? All right, my friends. Thank you so much. It's, I got 3 minutes. Then I go live until 5 a.m. Eastern Time. How do I do it? I'm a machine. A machine. You got that? All right. All right, my friends. Have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, thank you. And thank you, Fred, again for your kindness. We will see you later. And don't forget, as we always say, don't forget, make sure you subscribe. And don't forget, later we're going to be going to Lionel Nation. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Da-da.